gonna figure this out. Oh, here we go. We're on.
Hi.
Hiya. How are you?
How are you?
I'm good. All right, let's go. Right, that's fine.
Well, this was impromptu. Right, can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Can you hear me?
Okay, great. Yeah, I can hear you.
That's good. That's good.
Before we start, can I just say that we're on time?
I know. And I was like 2 minutes early. I was like pumped to go.
Yeah, how unusual is that? That people are like, oh, my tablet's dropped. How unusual is that people like us are actually on time for a change?
I know that it never happens. Never. I usually I'm usually deliberately late because I don't like being early. So yeah, we're good. We're good though. We're on to a good start.
We're good. We're off to a good start.
Yes.
Molly, thank you so much for allowing me to come onto your live today.
Oh, that's fine. I don't really like doing lives. I always find it quite like awkward because I never know. Like, I know it sounds funny, but I don't like talking to myself because I feel like, am I going over the same thing? Am I getting boring? So no, it's totally, you're welcome anytime.
And I've got to say that I'm so grateful for the content that you put out.
Oh, thank you. That's really nice.
Really resonate with it.
Thank you.
So thank you so much because sometimes having ADHD can be quite lonely if you don't know anyone who has it.
Yes, and actually, I don't know anyone that actually has it. I don't know anyone.
Like in real life, but online.
Oh,
obviously
online.
We have
Online, I've got so many like amazing friends, but in real life, like I don't know anybody. And like you say, it can be really isolating because you feel like, the world's just so different to us. And you even like trying to explain to a GP, a doctor, they don't understand. They just know the textbook, like, oh, it makes you hyper. It does, but nobody understands that it's not. That's literally like 2% of what ADHD is. There's so much more. It's horrible.
Yeah, it just encompasses your entire life. But I think you're benefiting a lot of people by the content that you're putting out. So I just think it's fantastic.
Thank you. I hope so. I really hope so.
No, definitely. Well, I know that I've seen a couple of your YouTube videos, and I love the content that you post online as well. I think it's really helpful. I'm sure others do as well. Should we start off by talking about our diagnosis, when we got diagnosed? Because I know that we're both late diagnosis.
Yeah, 21 I was.
21. Yeah. How old are you now?
22, so it was only last year.
Okay, so we've both been diagnosed for a year only as well. I got diagnosed last August at 30. Yeah, 30. And then so I've been diagnosed since, about sort of 8 months now, I think. And yeah, it's been a long journey in terms of like learning as well.
Yes. Oh.
Talk to me about your diagnosis, how that came about.
All right. So from the beginning, my mum and dad said they always kind of knew something was quite different. I was an only child for 4 years. And within those 4 years, my mum and dad, they gave me everything. And they kind of thought that it might have been that I was being a spoiled kid. Some of my behaviour came across that I was being quite like jealous of my sister, and kind of wanting attention. So as I got a little bit older, obviously things got worse, like pretty worse. And all throughout school, I was excluded, kicked out, put in a pupil referral unit, and I didn't get the best grades. I was always that cliche of, oh, you have potential, but you just don't use it. That was totally me. I was more creative and I didn't want to sit in a classroom. I was just like, I don't want to be here. So yeah, my behaviour just got worse, and basically in the end I went to college and everyone thought, oh, this is going to be a fresh start. No, I learned to drive, passed my driving test, got in a lot of trouble with my car, speeding, yeah, a lot of other stuff. Very thankful that I kind of steered clear of the drugs and the police, because some of the people that I used to hang around with, it could have got me in a deep, dark place. And I think it's down to my mum and dad, the reason why, you know, I didn't go down that route, but I had so many triggers and so many strong, intense, like hyper fixations. I wanted friends. So in my mind, it was like, I would do anything to get that. Like, I would do anything. Yeah. So yeah, drugs, alcohol and all of that sort of stuff. I'm very lucky I kind of steered clear of that. But anyway, I got kicked out of college at 19, and that was my breaking point. I was like, no. I took a step back and like evaluated myself, and I was like, this is not right. It's not right. I was studying what I wanted to study. You know, I had all of the kind of, when you're at college, you're more in control, aren't you? You can pick what you want to do, and even that didn't help. So yeah, like I said, I was kicked out, and well, I just thought, you know, there's something not quite right. I spoke to my mum, and she was like, we're so thankful you stepped forward and said it, because we've been thinking it for years. But they didn't want to say anything, because
did they think that it was ADHD?
Yes, they said, like, all through school, so many teachers were saying, you need to get your kid has ADHD, you need to get them tested. But like, my mum knew that I wanted to go in the military police. Like, that was my dream. And if you go back 5 or 6 years ago, when I was actually at school, ADHD wasn't accepted like it is now. So my parents thought they were doing me a favor by kind of, no, we're not going to get her labeled, just leave it, she'll grow out of it. But yeah, I had to pay private, because the NHS waiting list was, I think I waited 18 months, and we rung then on the NHS 18 months, and then we then rung up and said, oh, like, how long is it going to be? Oh, could be another 2-3 years yet. And we were like, no.
After the 18-month wait?
Yeah. Because they said, I think the lady on the phone, obviously, I don't know who she was, but she said, like, they don't see it, it's not as important as a child. So they push children in, basically. They try to get the kids in more. And they fit the adults in when they can. So yeah, that's my story basically. I just kind of just went through the radar kind of all through school.
Yeah. So do you think that the experience with college, kind of reaching that wall, pushed you to do something about it then?
100.
Would you have done it had you not been to college?
Do you know what? I don't, because all throughout my life, I've kind of just thought how I am is normal. But I've just thought, oh, I'm just always going to be the one that doesn't have friends, the one that just finds life challenging, you know. And everyone always used to think that I was the one. Oh, I don't know if you know what I mean, but have you seen Inside Out, that Pixar movie?
Yeah, I can't remember it, but
that little,
I've seen it.
This little emoji sadness, like with the black cloud. Like, that's how I felt, and people thought I was just wanting attention, but like, everything bad happened to me. I was like, why is it happening to me? Why? And people were like, it's because, you know, you're doing it to yourself. But I couldn't see like, how could I possibly be doing this to myself? So like, yeah, I don't think if I didn't go to college, I think I probably could have just, I mean, I'm not against teenage pregnancies or anything, but I feel like I could have fallen into that way of life and become a young mum and kind of not followed my dreams, if you know what I mean. Because I've done some things that I wanted to achieve. Yeah. But I feel like if I didn't go to college, that I think I could have gone down like the drugs, alcohol, kind of the bad route for me. Like that would be my idea of bad. But
do you think that having certain friends, I mean, people with ADHD are quite easily influenced because we're so impulsive?
Yeah. Do you know what? When I was diagnosed, I don't know about anyone else's experience, but I took my mum and dad, so they came with me, and they sat, like, I went in first, done my own hour like assessment, then my parents went in and spoke after, and then I got called in after, and the lady said to my mum and dad, you've done an amazing job. Your daughter has the combined type, really severe, so we need to get her on a medication kind of like ASAP if that's an option. And she said with ADHD, females especially can get into prostitution and into sex rings because they can become so fixated on things that sex is something that can be a trigger to women with ADHD.
A trigger?
Yeah, so like an obsession trigger.
Oh, like kind of like an addiction.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's the word. Yeah, addiction. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you think that, I guess it's because of the dopamine that you get from it.
Yeah.
Basically, anything that gives you dopamine, really, you can become addicted to it.
Exactly.
Especially when you're someone like us who have dopamine deficiency.
Yeah, and you crave it, and like if for people, like it's like, you know, being like addicted to drugs. You need that. It's like,
yeah,
it's just crazy.
My screen has frozen on you, but are you still going?
Yeah. Oh, I can see. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
that's all good.
Yeah, it froze.
That's all good.
Okay, great. Live broadcasting. How it is.
You should be used to
wow.
it. You're a DJ, but is it a DJ? I don't know if that is a DJ.
Yeah, DJ presenter. Yeah, no, I'm used to it. I use it. Things happen every day. It's just how it is.
Technology, isn't it?
Yeah. So wow, that's really interesting. So college pushed you to get that diagnosis. It's funny because I actually have a similar route to getting my assessment as well through uni. I masked it throughout most of my education, but it was only, I even masked it in my undergraduate. I don't know how it didn't come up in my undergraduate. I think I must have, you know, really kind of used a lot of coping strategies to get through that.
Yeah.
But it came up in my master's degree, and I took on a master's in 2019.
Right.
And the first task that I got was a presentation. It's a creative task. I totally aced it because we're visual people. So it was a visual task. So I was like, great, I'm going to nail this. And it's a presenter. So I was like, cool, you want me to do a presentation? Yeah. Okay. Great, can I have my degree now? But then after that, the essays came through. And we're talking like, once you get to master's level, it's not like 1,500 word essays. It's like 3,000-4,000 word essays, like 3 essays due on the same day even. That's when it got really, really difficult, and things started to pile up. And even though, you know, like I've clearly developed this like perfectionism, which I'm trying to unlearn now that I know what it is, but even my perfectionism wasn't helping me at master's level because you just need to get it done.
Yeah.
And you know, I was handing in work, like a report, for example. I had to hand it in on the day that it was due, and I'd only completed 30% of it, but I did that super perfectly. So I got 30%, but that's not even enough for a pass. So it's like, okay, I got top marks for like what I handed in, but I've still failed.
Yeah.
So I'm no better off than had I just kind of, you know, did my best on each one, but not gone in really hard on it.
Yeah.
You know, just handed in what I had. So because of that, I was failing a lot of my essays and reports. And then what happened is that the work just kept piling up and piling up.
Yes.
And this is, I had no diagnosis at this point. I didn't know. But I knew something was wrong, same as you know, something.
It just clicks, doesn't it? And you just think, this is
not. I think you just get to a point where you're like, enough now, I need to know what's going on.
It's almost like your brain's like calling for help, but it's like telling you in ways you're just like, wow, things become so obvious. You're just like, there is, you know, I don't know if it's like that missing piece of the puzzle, but it becomes so clear to you, but you don't know how to verbalize it. You're just like, something's not there. Yeah.
I think it's a frustration deep inside of you that knows, I can do this. I am capable of this. I know that I have the ability to pass this course and learn these skills, but something is blocking me.
That's it, yeah.
And it was our hardware. It wasn't, you know, it wasn't that we couldn't do it. And so I did the test at uni, the dyslexia test.
Oh, right.
That was after the first kind of route in. And the dyslexia test was quite, it wasn't really effective. It was quite basic. It was like a 10-minute test.
See, I've got dyslexia as well. And like, I have to have pink paper, right? And when like they said, oh, you've got dyslexia, I thought, oh God, that's it. Obviously that's what it is. Because it was at college, I was tested. And they were like, oh, this should have been picked up at school. And I was thinking, oh my God, that's it.
The reason, yeah.
Yeah, but like I've noticed.
But actually, I'm sure you know this as well now, because it's one of the, would it be a comorbidity?
Yeah, it's like
it's kind of a side
thing, isn't it?
Yeah, like most people with ADHD are, I think I read it yesterday actually on like an infographic that 45% of people with ADHD are likely to have or have learning difficulties such as dyslexia and dyscalculia, which is what I got diagnosed with. But then they sent me to an educational psychologist who did this really, really like thorough assessment.
Yeah.
And he said you've got dyslexia, dyscalculia, and a high chance of ADHD, but he wasn't qualified to diagnose. That's when I went for the assessment. And like you, I paid privately as well, because my waiting list was 3 years. And it's really interesting that you say that they made you wait for 18 months and then said that you need to wait again. And I wonder, well, it probably would have been the same case for me.
Yeah, I mean,
which is why.
Where are you from? Like, is it London way or?
Yeah.
I'm down in like Portsmouth. And the closest place for me is Basingstoke, which I think is, I don't know, is that like the middle of us, or like, I don't know. I'm not
terrible.
Yeah, I'm no good with directions. Never ask me to go anywhere, because so the only place they've got is Basingstoke, which is literally about an hour drive from where I'm from. There's nowhere closer that has any ADHD facilities at all. Other than I went to Southampton for my private assessment. Then that's not.
Can I ask you how to do your private assessment? Because I think it's really expensive.
Yeah,
personally,
I paid 1,000. Yeah, mine was £1,000, and then
for the assessment.
Yeah, and then it was £75 for my prescriptions.
Wow, gosh, that is more than I paid. I'm surprised, because I paid about £600, something like that, from the ADHD centre in Harley Street, and I thought that would be kind of high. But it was it was literally the first thing on Google. I was like, let me just get an assessment.
Yeah, well,
ADHD. Yeah. And then paid 600, and then after they charge you £200 for a consultation.
Yeah, which
you have to do every time you want to talk about your medication. And then they charge you £75 for each prescription.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you pay for your medication.
Yeah.
Which is mine, £95.
Yeah, that's what mine came to. Mine came to, but I'm very thankful for the NHS. Like I'm like, we rung up the NHS and my GP, and they quickly put it through as an NHS prescription. So I just had to pay like one lot of I think mine was 85 quid. And then after that, I'm very thankful that mine was pushed over to, because I mean I'm unemployed. It's not something I like to talk about, but like, I was bullied at my last work, so it made me kind of this was about my ADHD as well. They treated me really badly.
Did they know that you had ADHD?
Yeah, and they were just like, if I could swear, I'd use the horriblest word one that is in the dictionary. They were just nasty people. So yeah, it just kicked off like a massive kind of, I wouldn't say meltdown, but it was like all my mental health, like anxiety, ADHD, it just like blew up. So I couldn't afford, even if I wanted to, I couldn't afford £95 like each month.
A lot of people can't, and
it's dreadful.
Especially in a pandemic, and I think that having any kind of neurological impairment or any disability, actually any disability across the board, in a pandemic is only exasperated. And so then for people to have to pay, quite extortionate, and when I say extortionate, I mean this is the price difference, right? You already know this, but for anybody who's £95 for 1 month of medication, essentially one of these.
Yeah.
Well, we're both on L-bands, aren't we?
Yeah, we're both L-bands.
So one of these for a month, £95, or on the NHS, £9.50. I mean, what a difference.
I do not.
You know, and yet, you know, people didn't have to wait that long. They just get them assessed. If there was a way to assess people quickly, which actually we'll get to. I don't know if you want to talk.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. But you know, having to spend all that money, I think, is unnecessary, especially in times like this where people actually need the help the most.
Oh, I totally agree with you.
You know, and then going back to when, you know, I was going through the process of
sorry, I jumped in there. Yeah, sorry.
Basically the ADHD, the doctor there told me that we need to make sure I'm on a stable dosage before I go on to shared care, which I guess is sensible. It makes sense. You know, to be safe. But also it costs a lot more. So I'm sitting there paying like £200 for the consultation, another £95 for the month's prescription, £75 for this, for the prescription as well.
Oh God.
Yeah. So it does rack up. So I had to do that for a good 3-4 months, and only now I'm on shared care. And the thing is I'm privileged enough in a position to do that, but you know, what about the people that can't?
Do you know, and it's scary, isn't it?
Lifestyle problem. It's really scary. It's really scary, worrying, very alarming, because you know there's enough going on right now to then not be able to focus on your work. Let's say you're reliant on this, because a lot of people are reliant on their medication.
Yeah, I certainly am. Yeah.
You know, it's almost like, do I eat or do I get medication? So yeah, I really think that there's a lot of work to be done in terms of policy and governance around, you know, the waiting list and the support that's being offered for people with ADHD at the moment and getting their diagnosis. There is a petition that is going on right now, actually. I just want to mention as well.
Yeah, I signed that when I saw it on your. It was on your link tree. It was on your link tree.
Yeah, my link tree.
And I signed it because I thought, oh, what? You don't hear about that though. There's no one. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
No. I don't think anyone's. Well, not that I know of. No. We'll have to find out. But there is a colleague of mine who works at Bauer, George Sharp. Big up George Sharp. He works for the Hits, one of the news presenters there, and he has ADHD. And he's, you know, the only guy I know at work who has ADHD. And I think he reached out to me because he saw me post something online and told me about this petition, and he said, thank you for sharing this petition. And you know, so he's doing a walk, a sponsored kind of walk, all the way down to Parliament from where he lives. God, I can't remember now, my memory fails me, but it's really far. Miles and miles away, hundreds of miles. So he's doing this walk, and he's going to hand in the petition to Parliament to say, can you improve the services of ADHD? We're trying to get some awareness for it, so thank you so much for signing that. Please, if anyone who's watching this, please go to my link tree and sign the petition as well to speed up the process for people who are waiting to get an ADHD.
I'll post it on my I've got it's not all about followings, but I've got a bigger following on my Facebook.
Great.
So that's
fantastic.
That's 6,000 plus people. So hopefully,
brilliant.
If you know, I don't know how many people are tech savvy, because a lot of people will be like, "How do you do it?" But I might even do a screen record just to show people, because like you say, it's so important. It's so important to get it out there.
Yeah.
And I feel like I think your job is absolutely perfect for someone with ADHD. I just saw someone on here comment.
Yeah.
Did you see it? Someone was like, do you have any... Someone said something about a job with ADHD, and I just thought, do you know what? Just thinking about it, your job would be perfect. Yes,
it is. Honestly, I lucked out because I have had a lot of jobs. I've done a lot of jobs. I'm a beauty therapist.
I'm in the same boat.
You know, I've done so many jobs before this is my longest job, and it's quite clear to see why, because it is perfect for people like us.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to be a presenter since I was a kid. I kind of wanted to do TV, but then I fell into radio and absolutely loved it. So now radio is my core, and you know, maybe I'll do TV one day. But radio is so perfect for us because it's creative. There's a level of adrenaline that you get from being live, so then you've got those dopamine receptors kind of like really lighting up, and so it's just perfect for us because you get to do something different every day. You speak about something different, you know, and then obviously having support of a producer as well. You have that, you know, that feedback, that regular feedback, that accountability, somebody to help organize things. Like my producer, Mikey, I don't know what I'd do without him, honestly. He helped me to just be organized. Like I always say this thing, I say, you know, people say, oh, you know, why can't you think outside the box, as in to be creative? And I'm like, I can't even see the box. So that's, we have creativity in abundance.
I want to see inside the box. Show me where the box is.
Show me where the box is. So this is what my producer does. He shows me where the box is. Like he'll be like, right, this is the plan.
Yeah, do you know they
this
say
is what we're gonna do.
Everyone needs a brunette or blonde friend. No, you need someone who can show you that box.
Show me the box.
That's what. Yeah.
So yeah, no, you're right. It's something creative. I mean, it doesn't have to just be, you know, presenting and radio. It could be just anything in the creative industry.
Yeah,
I think, and also you can be creative with anything, really. But
I feel,
you know, even
sorry, I feel like when like you're in a creative job, there's no like. I feel like there's less boundaries. Do you know what I mean? There's less guidelines. Because I find if someone says to me, oh, I don't know, black and white, I'm just like, but I saw that blue thing. Do you know, like there's something over there that I want. But I feel like when you're quite ADHD, I feel like you have to have a job that isn't a normal job. I feel like you have to have something that is gonna give your brain that stimulation, and that's why I think with school there needs to be a huge. Like I was talking to someone on Twitter about there's a new school thing that's going around called a forest school. I'm not sure. It's like an outdoor adventure school.
Wow.
And do you know what? If I was at school, that would be amazing for me. Like they learn maths outside using sticks and climbing and running around. Like, but you have to pay private for that school. That isn't a like a secondary school. It generally is a private school. But
the education system needs a good shake-up.
That's what I'm extremely passionate about. Like it's like, I think it's just my personal experiences like with school that has made me realise, you know, there's so many gaps, and especially females, girls fall through those gaps.
Yes, yeah, we do. That's why we get a lot of women are coming through with late diagnosis, but it's quite clear why, because you know, unless you're a boy, particularly white boys with that are hyperactive, they get picked up super quickly.
Yes, 100%.
And outside that bracket, you know, you get to a point where things become extremely difficult, and I would say it's when you have to start adulting.
Oh, the responsibilities, that's when it all wraps up.
And that's when things hit that wall. That's when you get to that point and you burn out and you're like, what's going on? Something's going on.
Did you know?
I want to achieve, I want to move forward.
30% of the prison population, right, are ADHD. 30%.
That is really crazy.
When I heard, well, actually, I didn't hear it. I read it and I was like, if you think about it, 30% doesn't seem a lot, but if you're in a prison, that's like, it's not much off half of the prison population. And it's like, and I was reading, I don't know if you watch Piers Morgan. I don't know if you, but he does this thing on Netflix. It's quite old, where he does like criminal investigations in the prison. And do you know what? So many female murderers have undiagnosed ADHD and they're diagnosed with bipolar and ADHD.
No.
Yes, honestly. And I'm not saying it in a bad way, because I mean, but a lot of females you know, you get quite like, you can get quite feisty, and a lot of these women that go really long like without, yeah, it goes crazy.
Wow. Wow, that is news to me.
I'll share with I'll get one of those Netflix things up, because honestly it surprised me, because I was thinking, oh Jesus, it's just, I mean, I would not be okay in prison.
Those women have been helped. Had those women have been helped when they were younger, women or men, any
gender,
any gender, you know, had they've been helped from a young age and maybe not have gotten into whatever they got into because of their impulsiveness, the groups that were around them. You know, we are influenced by our social circles, and if we've grown up in areas where certain social circles have gotten into,
like,
you know,
gang related behavior,
exactly. So, you know, it starts somewhere, and I think with proper support from a young age,
early intervention is key. It really is.
Intervention. Because also, like, with late diagnosis, you get all this other stuff, like, you know, the self-hate that you've developed for years and years and years of not knowing what's, you know, why can't I do this? Well, this person can do it.
Did you go through like a stage of like grief? Yes. For the life that you could have had. I don't know if that's how I'd explain it, but like, I always use it
was the grief cycle, the cycle of grief.
Yeah, it was just like, I don't know, I was like obsessed with my diagnosis. Like, I was still Googling it. I was still doing like self-assessments online, because I was like, oh, this can't be right. That's not me. I haven't got this, you know?
Yeah.
And it's really, you know, like you said, with late diagnosis, it's just like, you've gone through your whole life, and then your identity is then taken and you're given a new one. You know, you are labelled, and a lot of people say like, oh, you know, it is a label. Yeah, it is a label, but it's not a label that's gonna.
We won't talk about that, but the label's wrong.
Oh, 100%. And the whole word ADHD, the whole like attention deficit, it's not a deficit. It's not a deficit, but
it's a dysregulation.
Yeah.
Or an executive function impairment. I don't know. I think the ADHD community probably could come up with a better word and then put it to the powers that be and be like, this is what we're going to be calling ourselves from now on. But just so that we can stick back to focus, because obviously I know that we were talking about medication specifically. Yes. I could talk to you for hours. By the way, I could talk to you for hours about this. But I put the bullet points so that we stay on track.
Stick.
I know that people have been asking, I mean, I don't know if you've had this in your DMs, but people have been asking me loads about medication and what that's like, because it's quite a scary thing. If you're not on medication for something, and then to suddenly go on it, you're like, oh God, what, I have to take this for the rest of my life. Anyone who takes medication for anything goes through that experience. I'm sure. But so let's talk about the pros of medication. Do you have any pros that you think?
I have millions, actually.
Okay, great.
But I think my main one would be like my emotional regulation. 100%. I'm able to kind of. Before, I used to be really angry, and like if I didn't get my own way, that was it. Like, it doesn't matter how old I was, there's going to be a tantrum if I don't get what I want. Like, but now I can kind of take a step back and think, is it really worth that argument? You know, is it really worth getting angry over? You know, I take that step back, and I think, I couldn't thank this medication enough. You know, if it was a person, I'd marry it, because it's just changed my life.
Would you say, I was literally going to ask you that. Has medication changed your life?
Do you know what? Me and my parents never had a good relationship, never. But now I go on days out with just me and my parents and my little sister. Like, it's changed my life. I honestly, I do want to come off of it eventually. I do.
Oh, what, completely?
Completely. I do want to.
How so? Why? You want to try and manage it?
Yeah, I just want to see the difference. I want to see if I have learned, you know, because I live by this thing that pills do not give you skills. You do have to learn it. Do you know what I mean? Like, This is not a
Did
magic
you do
pill.
it every day, 7 days a week?
Yes, yes.
Wow. Okay.
Because
But with no breaks, have you had any breaks since
oh
you've got
yeah, I
that?
tried. Oh my god. Basically, I was going through this really bad phase of losing. I lost 5 stone in a matter of 2 months.
God.
It
Yeah, because it suppresses your appetite as well.
or I was a victim
We,
of binge eating disorder, and
oh,
as soon as I started this meds, like I
yeah,
mean the day I started it, that was it. Weight just fell off, and
yeah.
I mean
So
I'm yeah.
just touch on that for a second, because that's a really, really important point that you just made. For people that don't know about, well, particularly L-bands, I mean, I can't speak for any other
No,
medication,
I
only
haven't tried any. No, I'm.
which is this one. Hope it doesn't say my name or address on it, because we're online,
There'll be
but
a
it's
party.
this.
There'll be a party at yours.
I know. God knows. Anyway,
Or
so
else I'll be on it
particularly
you.
this, yeah, definitely bring some me. So yeah, particularly L bands is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So so yeah. Oh my God, what were we saying? My memory's gone.
We're talking about the where I lost all that weight and like binge eating.
Yes, that's it. Right, this suppresses your appetite.
Yeah.
That's what people. That's just what we just need to mention before, because taking this suppresses your appetite all day for like 8 to 12 hours, right?
Oh my god, yeah. Yes. I don't know about you, but I mean we are going to get onto the like cons of it, but
Yeah.
I feel like where it does do that, it suppresses my appetite. I get migraines a lot more.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know if
Same.
that's just me. I have been to the opticians and I don't have anything wrong with my head. But I have put it down to the lack of intake of like sugar, and not sugar, but like getting myself kind of that energy.
Stimulated.
Yeah, I find it
Yeah.
very difficult to like maintain the energy because I'm just not feeding it. I'm just not getting it.
Yeah. It's so strange because I mean I love food. I
Oh yeah.
love eating. And so for something to take such a power and hold over my body and my eating preferences. I mean, I'll have a banana in the morning and then I will take one of those. I'm on 20 milligrams, which is quite light apparently, I didn't realise. But I take one of those and I put it in one of these jars, and I'll put a little bit like a Barocca or something, and I will empty the pill into the jar, the capsule. I won't have it all in one because I don't want like a whole hit straight from one.
That's
one
fine. Yeah.
So I'll empty the capsule, pour it into here, and put like a Barocca, not Barocca, but like I use like a collagen powder, collagen water, whatever, like orange flavour.
Yeah.
Put it in here, and then I'll sip it throughout the morning so that I'm getting like
a slow release. Yeah.
Slow release. Yeah, exactly. But that suppresses my appetite all day. I mean, I could go till 5 p.m. and not eat anything, and that is unheard of, because before I was even diagnosed, I mean, even at uni, I was eating loads because I needed the energy. And I was snacking all the time. So then to go from that to like nothing all day is really strange, and I can totally understand where you lost the weight so quickly, because I mean you spent hours and hours and I'm not eating anything. So I don't know how other people kind of manage the two, because today, for example, I'll give you an example. Today I went for lunch, and it was a really special lunch that I was looking forward to. It's my first one like out of lockdown.
I saw it on your story.
Yeah. So, I had that planned, and I was like, I want to eat today. I want to treat myself and actually enjoy this lunch. So I'm not going to take medication. So I'm not medicated today. And I chose to do that. But the fact that you have to choose whether you're going to be medicated or eat,
it's crazy.
That to me is quite concerning. And then do you find that you binge after the medication wears off? Or do you not do that? How have you managed that? Because I'm still figuring that out.
I mean, for me, at the very beginning, yes. Like, I did. And I think the doctor said it was an L-Vance crash, it was called.
Yeah.
Where you go from being up here and the medication doesn't like wear off. It literally just drops like really suddenly. And that's how it works. She said to me to try and drink a lot more in the day, because I was struggling with also drinking. Like for me, I forget to drink. I don't know why. I just never do.
No, that's very common, I think. Can I just show you something I bought? I mean, it's really basic, but it's been helping me for the last 2 weeks. It's this tracker, and it tells you what time that you should have drunk by. I mean, I filled it up literally before this chat, so it's not very accurate. And also, I don't really follow the times, but at least I know that when I check it, let's say I'm late most days, and I check it and it's like 11 a.m. and I'm still here. I'm like, oh, it's 11 a.m. I better go up to here then. So I'll kind of get to the point where I need to get to at that point. It keeps me on track, not in the way that it's supposed to, I guess, for a neurotypical, but I find this really helpful. So, yeah, hopefully that will help you as well to stay on track, and everybody else who's watching.
Yeah, that's a good thing though. I've never tried anything like that. But yeah, for the binge eating thing at the end, I mean, I've gotten into a bit. Obviously, I've been on it for a year, just over a year. So I've got myself into a little bit of a routine with it. In the morning, I'll have a banana or something, or because for me, I'm not a breakfast person. I'm just not hungry in the morning. So I make myself have something in the morning. I generally just force it. I just have to. So I usually have either a banana or like a waffle, just to I have to have it. Then I take my meds. Then I have loads of orange juice, like pure orange juice. Because I've got, I don't know if, I mean, it doesn't really matter, but I've got a B12 deficiency. So I have to have jabs.
But isn't B12 good with ADHD meds as well? Because I was told this by my doctor, that you should take B vitamins and proteins. They help the meds kind of work better.
Yeah, so with my B12, I found out when I was, and it's really unusual for young people to have a B12 deficiency. It's really unusual. But also, I was told that people with ADHD are more than likely to have a B12 deficiency. So there is a link there somewhere.
Definitely.
And it's just crazy because I didn't know that. But when it's like when my B12 is going down, I noticed that my medication doesn't work as effectively.
Wow. Okay, that's really interesting.
I will have mood swings, and like my mum and dad will be like, "Oh, it must be time for your B12 jab."
Oh, do you get jabs as well, like B12 jabs?
Yeah, I've got to have it every 3 months, but it has been pushed forward because for some reason my body just doesn't make B12 at all.
That is so good that you can get like B12 jabs that last for 3 months. I didn't know this was a thing, because I've been getting this Holland and Barrett B12, and then my friend told me that's got loads of bulking agent in it, and I was like, oh god, I didn't even know that was the case. Probably not doing anything to me then.
No, yeah, you can get I know I don't condone it, but you can get people to come around your house and actually do B12 jabs. Like there generally is a business. I mean, I'm not sure, I wouldn't do it myself, but I'm under the doctor, so like I know that you can get it from the doctor if you guys speak to them. Like that's the most safest way.
B12 jabs from the NHS?
Yeah, because I don't know if you know, but I don't know if you know, I don't really care anyway, but a thing called Crohn's disease.
Okay,
it's just stomach.
I don't know too much about it. Is it something to do with bones?
Yeah, it's like your stomach, and it runs in my family. So does rheumatoid. So I was tested for all these like autoimmune diseases, but then like mine was B12, and it's a cognitive, so it affects your brain. So they're thinking, the doctor said to me, they think that I was born with like no B12 kind of thing, and that's what caused my ADHD. Lack of like cognitive, like it just caused ADHD.
B12. We absolutely need B12 for our brains.
Yeah.
So maybe there is a link there. I mean, I'm sure there's probably studies as well.
And a lot of it's in meat as well. A lot of meat has B12.
Yeah. So do you diet wise, do you eat things that have more B12?
I just eat what I want to eat because I know that I won't put no weight on, so I just eat anything.
Okay, so pros wise, in terms of medication, do you find that it improves your memory?
No.
Really?
It hasn't.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, I've got to admit, today I took my dog to the vet, and I was like, I think it's today. Like, I generally think it's today.
Okay.
And I went there and they were like, yeah, it is today, but like the wrong time. And I was just like, oh my God, I can write it down, but then I'll forget where I put it. I'll put it in my notes. Then I'm looking at my calendar
no.
and I'm like, oh my God. So yeah, no.
Oh no, because that would have been one of my pros, is that it improves my memory, but only briefly. Like, I guess for appointments, you know, that's kind of a little bit further ahead. But for me, in terms of like speech memory, you know, with my job, for example, that's when I really notice it. So if I know, let's say, you know, I want to talk about a particular subject, and then I've got a couple of songs that I want to kind of talk about that are coming up. If I'm on Elvans,
you can see the difference.
that comes to me quickly. Yeah, I would say like there's like I don't know, 30% sort of increase in my recall.
That's amazing.
But yeah. But then now hearing from you, I'm like, oh God, it's probably gonna wear off soon. I'm gonna have to go up to 30 or whatever.
See, I'm
on 20 now, but I see. But I'm gonna have to go up for my fake tan. Lockdown life. My nails are done. Fake tans not good. No good. So yeah, I mean, you know, hopefully this doesn't really wear off, but I guess, you know, for the meantime, the memory is one of my pros. So that's really interesting.
No.
See, I'm on 50. I also find. Are you on 50? Does it help you focus at all? Do you feel like you're sharper?
Honestly, right? I'll this is like dead honest. I suck at maths. I've always hated maths. But I went back to college just after I was diagnosed because I had this like passion to learn. Like, I wanted to learn. And I was like, I don't have a maths GCSE. I don't have one. Do you know what? I have about 15 notebooks full of revision, and I got a B. Right. I smashed it with a B.
Wow.
I would have never been able to do that ever.
Yeah, that's great.
And yeah, I've written a blog about it. I just can't get over how amazing.
That concentration.
Yeah, I would never have been able to do it. Like,
that is incredible.
It's like the whole processing as well. Like,
yeah,
I'm able to. So I don't know, if you were to say something to me that almost sounds like a riddle, but it's not a riddle, and I'd be like, okay, like, I don't have to.
X equals Y equals pi.
Yeah, usually I'd be like, what the? Yeah. But the formula and the whole process now is easier for me to follow, where it wouldn't have been if. Yeah, even just social interactions with like processing things.
Yeah.
But then I've got autism as well. Like, I'm being assessed for that. So for me, and again, this is a good thing about the medication. When I started my meds, my whole autism traits came through. Like, my dominant kind of neurological disorder is ADHD because it was capping. But now I'm on meds, all my other traits are coming through. And I personally at the beginning thought, I spoke to my doctor and she was like, any concerns? And I was like, well, yeah, I still can't do this, I can't do that, I can't do this. And she was like, oh no, Molly, there's so many things that come with ADHD, and autism is one. And she said, I'm not qualified to diagnose. She said, I'm an ADHD specialist, but she said, you tick more than, like, she said, if I could say, she said, you tick the whole box for autism.
Wow.
And that thing we're going to be talking about at the end, is that's how I'm going through with what I'm going through, like the assessment.
That's so interesting. I love that. I'm really interested to hear about your journey with that. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on your socials. You're going to be posting that.
I'm going to be like, I've started to, like, not blog or vlog, but like on YouTube, I've started to put out the whole process of me filling out the assessment form.
Great. So, I think that's so helpful. Yeah. Have you had a lot of people messaging you being like, how do I do this?
Yes.
I think I have ADHD. I think I have this.
A lot of people, because there's things that on the ADHD assessment, which I guarantee you would have found, like when you have to do the self kind of questionnaires, you don't know half these questions. You don't know if you feel like you're driven by a motor. Like, how do you know that? Like, how can you describe something that you don't know if it's right or wrong? Like, a lot of people ask me these questions, and I'm like, as much as I want to help, I can't, because
it's your norm.
Yeah.
It's your norm. So you're like, you're not able to see outside yourself.
No.
But interestingly enough, if I were to look back at some of my old, interviews on the Kiss Femi Care YouTube, I could probably spot myself masking in that, and I wouldn't even know, because it was this pre-diagnosis. So looking at myself from that perspective, is probably easier, because you get a bird's eye view of what's going on. You get a real kind of big picture of things. But when you're being asked what's going on in your head, and you're the person,
you're just like,
no. Okay, so sharper focus, tasks get done, I think, is another pro.
Yes.
I would say it's definitely mine.
100% mine. Yeah, I've got more of it might not happen on the day, but I do 100%, like, I work towards them more than I ever would do. Like, I know my mum might say,
you get more done. Let's say you write a to-do list.
Yeah.
Do you think you'd get more of that to-do list done on meds than you would?
Yeah, 100%. So, like, for my YouTube channel, I tried to do a schedule. I tried to make sure I'm filming 2 or 3 times a week. That didn't work for me, because I felt pressured. But now I have a schedule. I have, like, an open schedule where I'm like, I could film up to 3, but do you know what? Because I know I don't have to, I'm filming more than I need to.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
So
and
2 weeks.
Yeah. So I definitely feel like my tasks and my to-do lists are getting completed, but in ways that I don't know how, like, but ways that I know these little chunks of things that I'm doing, it's working towards the bigger picture, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. It's like, it's lots and lots of little steps.
Yeah. Because if you do it, I think we can become so overwhelmed, and, like, any little bit of pressure can, like, I don't know about you, but it can trigger my anxiety, and, like, it can make me feel like I don't want to do it. Like, it's just that kind of rebellious streak.
Overwhelming, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's almost like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do it, but I need to. And that need to do it is kind of something that I've worked towards, to make myself think that actually I don't need to do it. I want to do it. I'm trying to teach myself the difference between need and kind of want. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
I don't know, I'm kind of lost now. Do you mean in terms of YouTube?
So like setting myself tasks, I don't set them so that I have to be done on a day.
Okay.
It's like,
yes, okay. I get you. Yeah. So basically, okay, I think I get what you're saying, because I've just started this week, after speaking with somebody from Access to Work, which is a really, really great program. I recommend anyone to apply for that. Just Google Access to Work. The government provides you with those services when you have been diagnosed with a disability. I have this wellbeing practitioner who calls me once a month. I think we've got like 6 or 9 sessions, something like that. Every month we have a chat about kind of wellbeing and how I'm managing with this ADHD, and she basically helped me with things that I need help with, and one of them was what you just said, which was tasks, task management, and not putting the pressure on yourself to do X amount of tasks by today. So she suggested to me, put a list of tasks that you need to achieve this week.
Yeah.
Put like 7, maximum 7. Which I used to put like 7 in a day.
Yeah.
And then not achieve them. And then there's this cycle of failure, and then it leads to more self-hate. And it's like, well, I didn't achieve what I wanted to do today. But actually I was just over-committing.
Yeah.
So she suggested to me, put down 7 tasks that you want to complete this week, and you can do them at your own time, so that there's a flexibility there, because we need that flexibility. Yes. We need rigidity, because we don't have rigidity, but we also need flexibility, because like you said, you'll just give up.
That's it.
It's not a motivating factor. Be rigid and stuck in a routine or plan.
That's honestly it though, isn't it? That's what I mean. Like the want to do it is better for me. I find it easier to want to do something, so that if I say I need this done today, it's not going to happen. it won't happen. Like, it won't. But if I say, I want to go for a walk, I want to get this done, I will do it, because I have that I want to factor about it.
Right.
Yeah, just...
And also, like, not putting too much pressure on yourself. I think that's a really key thing.
Yeah.
I think that is definitely the way forward, is because when you put too much pressure on yourself,
it just
you're not kind to yourself.
Yeah, and it's horrible. It is hard, especially with us, because I feel like we try so hard. Like, we try even harder.
We really do.
I don't know about if you, I mean, you're probably very popular, but like, for me, trying to fit into a social group, is almost like trying to, I don't even do a Rubik's Cube. Like, it's that confusing. Do you know, I'm like,
I've had experiences where in groups I would be singled out as like the scatty one,
the
incompetent one.
Yes.
You know, what's she gonna do today?
Yeah.
And always the butt of joke. And then you get to like the end of the week, you know, spending, let's say you go on a girls' holiday, you know, and you get to the end of the week and you're like, oh God, like, literally, I'm like, you know, I'm like, I feel like I'm stupid or something. Like, people are just constantly digging at me.
No, it gets like, to you, doesn't it?
No. But actually, you know, at the end, you feel like you don't feel good about yourself for whatever reason, you know.
But you know what? I think
I hear you.
Sorry.
Oh no, that's okay. So I'm just conscious of time, because I think it's going to cut us off after an hour, isn't it?
Oh, I don't have a clue. I don't know. I'm not sure. But yeah,
okay.
no.
I'm just conscious of it. But so we've basically gone through the cons. So just to recap: memory improvements. Well, certainly for me, not for you. Sharper focus. We can both agree on that. Tasks get done. That's a big tick for both of us.
Yes.
We're both more emotionally stable and have less mood swings on it as well. And then in terms of cons, I have to say the biggest con, two of the biggest cons for me, medication wise. Firstly, oh my God, it makes you sweat.
I'm so happy you said that, because I thought I was going through like early menopause or something.
You're really sweaty. And it's like you're sweating this medication. Oh God, I like changed my top halfway through the day. I know this is TMI, but this is what we need to talk about: is medication chat. You know, no,
nothing's left behind. No
filter. You know. So yeah, tell me, do you have that as well then?
Yes. So I actually spoke to my doctor. Like I say, I was getting a bit panicked, because I was getting hot to the point where, like, it wasn't even hot, and I was like, do you know, like, I can't even remember, we went somewhere and I was like, Mum, are you hot? And she was like, no, I'm freezing. But I was like dripping, and I was getting worried, because honestly, like, I thought I was going through the menopause. I was that concerned, and my doctor was like, no, it's because you've got amphetamine. Your tablet's like amphetamine. I mean, I thought that meant I was going to be gurning and, like, you know, being a bit scatty. But it makes me normal, so I'm pretty happy with sweating. Like, I'd rather do that than being the one that, like, just forgets everything.
Sweating is a big, I mean, you know, for all the pros that you get, it's kind of worth the sweat.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a con. It's definitely a con. Because I'm like, I don't sweat like this normally.
But it makes you even more self-conscious, doesn't it? Because you think you smell. Yeah. No, I totally agree with you.
Yeah, it really does. And so I'm like, right, okay, right, I have to, you know, what if I was to do an interview that day with somebody, and like, you give them a hug. Well, we used to, pre-pandemic times now, you know, somebody would come in for an interview, you give them a hug. Actually, I've got a funny story. One time, Justin Bieber came in. And,
I was just about to say to you, if you meet Justin Bieber, you're very lucky. He's my favourite.
Well, he literally came in for the last album that he did. And it was super, super quick. And he came in and we had a quick hug, and then we started the interview. But after the hug, he was like, you smell really good. And obviously, I probably had some perfume on that day. But I genuinely think that now on meds, there's no way anyone's going to comment. They'll comment on how I smell, but in a different way. So anyway, just a little sharing a memory there. But yeah, so sweat's a big con. Loss of appetite, we already discussed that. Um, jittery and edgy. Are you jittery and
Yes,
edgy?
yeah, I think it depends. For me, it depends on how busy I've been in the day. If
Mm-hmm.
I've been able to kind of like, I don't know, like use the majority of my medication, if I use it to the max, I
Yeah.
feel at the end of the day, I feel really anxious, like something bad's going to happen. You know, like
Yeah.
I feel, yeah, so I totally get that. But I also take sertraline for anxiety,
Okay.
which was
I don't
upped
know.
because of this feeling I get. So,
Oh, okay, okay. Tell me more about this.
so sertraline obviously is it's an antidepressant. I was on it
Okay.
pre-diagnosis for a few months before. I was going to come off of it because this medication isn't really compatible with sertraline. Basically, if you take too much,
Right.
it can reduce. It can like make like I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but it can make too much.
Reduce the time. So basically, it doesn't work along with LMAT as
Yes,
much.
but
So how do you go around that?
because
Because you're taking both.
I have really bad anxiety,
Okay.
basically the cons don't outweigh the pros, that it's not worth not being on it, if you get what I mean.
Right.
So I
Okay.
take it in
Okay.
the evening rather than in the
Yeah.
morning with my ADHD medication.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Do you find that your moods are low in the evening, not necessarily in the day when you've had a rest and let's say you've just woken up, you've had you had fresh sleep, for example, you're fine throughout the day, but then when you get tired and your dopamine levels might be lower,
oh yeah,
you're drained. That's when the moods can be lower, kind of
100%,
depressing mood.
100.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's when I see more of my like traits that that I think, oh, I've worked on these, oh, they've gone, because I feel like with medication, and I think this is a good point, people automatically assume that it's gone,
Yeah.
oh, it's gonna
Oh, I'm
cure
sure.
it. But the thing is, as soon as it starts to wear off,
Yeah.
it comes straight back. And I think you've got to be strong enough to take that. Do you know what I mean? Like you've got to run with it and just get on with it, because
Yeah.
it hit me hard. Like I will like it hit me hard, and I was like, I don't even want to be on this medication because it's not helping. But we're talking about all the pros, and there are so many,
Yeah.
and I don't think you can count them all. Because for me, I'm pro medication, pro. If I had a child that had ADHD, they'd be medicated, and I know that's really controversial. But for me, being who I am, knowing how hard my childhood was,
Your life.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm pro. My kid would be on that medication quicker than you could say ADHD. It'd be like, that's it, you're on it.
Do any of your family have ADHD?
No, I'm the only one in my whole entire family.
Or perhaps they're not diagnosed. I mean,
I hope my dad's not watching this,
free?
but my dad would be the one. Like, yeah, 100%.
Usually, it's supposed to be your family. It's genetic most of the time.
Yeah,
from what I've read.
I think it is. I mean, this is a spoiler because a lot of people have literally told me they bought my book today. So if you're watching it, don't listen. But anyway, in the very beginning of my book, basically when I was born, I had the cord wrapped around my neck, and I was like oxygen deprived for a little while. But then my mum has bipolar, and she had a mental manic depression episode. So my mum was then like sectioned, and I then was sectioned with my mum.
Right. So there is a neurological history.
Yes.
There. Okay, it may not be ADHD, but it's still neurological.
Yeah. It's still
neurodiverse even. I'm not really explaining it the right way, but so essentially your mum is neurodivergent as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. And I think with bipolar as well, it's a really good fact. Well, it's not really a fact, but the comorbidity thing with ADHD is bipolar. It's one of the most I think it's either 1 in 5 or 1 in 10 have ADHD with bipolar or bipolar with ADHD and Tourette's. It's crazy. You wouldn't think it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like When life is particularly stressful, I don't know if it's the medication or maybe being on it and then not being on it, or just having ADHD anyway, but it brings on like a tick in a sense, like a jolt. But
Oh,
then that
yeah.
might be because of anxiety, like your body will just jolt sometimes.
I feel for me that's in the evening. I get really restless legs, which I found is worse when I'm on meds.
Right, okay. So I
So
guess that could be a con that we didn't
yeah,
really consider. Is like slight jolting.
yeah, and like yeah, for me, 100% would be like, I mean, it has improved the way I sleep because it helps me a lot. But also
Okay.
there are a lot of evenings and nights where I'm so exhausted that I still can't sleep because I feel like I need, like, you know, I still have the meds in me that make me feel like I need to be doing this, I can do this. And
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's because I took it late in the day. Like it might have been my fault, but
What time do you take it? Can I ask?
I don't have a time, just when I get up. Which is
Fair play. I'm kind of bound by work, so I sort of have to take it roughly at the same time every day.
I try before 9:30 would be for me amazing. Like I try,
Okay.
and I did take it like at 1 in the afternoon once, and I won't ever do that again. Never.
Right.
Because I was up like
1 in the afternoon,
yes,
which doesn't sound that late, but when you're on meds like this, I
like
mean, it's like 8 to 12
I
hours.
know I was up all
You
night.
get to 1 a.m.
Oh, and also like I mean it's not anything bad because I don't think it's not an addicting drug, but a few months ago I accidentally took an overdose on ADHD medication, right?
How so? You
Because
need to take once a day, right?
yeah, no, I take two a day. I've got 20 and a 30.
Okay.
And for some reason, I don't know why, I was going to take my sertraline in the evening like a normal routine. I was going to take that in the evening, go to bed. No, I didn't. I took two of my medications. And
Right.
oh, I tell you what, right? And I'm not even lying. I felt as though I had just taken some illegal drug and gone to a rave. I was up all night and I was waking my mum up. I was like, Mum, 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 all night. We even ran the
No.
paramedics because my heart
Was
was
this the first time that you did that?
no, yeah, the first ever time I've ever done that. I don't know why I did it. I just went for them. Like I don't know why. But anyway, the
Yeah.
paramedics were like, "Can you come again?" And they were like, you've taken amphetamine," and I was like, "Yeah," like, and they were like, "Slow down, I can't understand what you're saying," because I was going, "No, no, 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 no."
Oh my God.
I was, yeah. So I suggest one of those pill boxes, 100%.
Why do you say that?
Have you got
Here's
one?
one I made earlier.
And
And right, here's my old one.
this is not even like rehearsed.
No, this isn't planned. I like to have all my things around me, my comfort. So these are a few pill boxes that I had before, but now I've gone on to this. My friend gave me this, which is like a weekday.
Oh wow.
The days of the week aren't there, but basically I can kind of track them like that. So I just have to prepare my pill box. One's upside down, and then you've got like day and night. I only need like a day one basically, but yeah. Anyway,
Do you want to know
sharing our pill.
do you want to know what I do? I literally have them in the actual pill box. Oh,
Sorry about that. Got
that's all right.
excited.
Oh, my head
Go
hurts.
on.
No joking. Yeah.
Sorry about that, guys. Sorry. Go on.
I literally just have the pill box. Like imagine this was the pill box. I literally take it and just go, yeah, back in the cupboard. I'm not organised. No. I just keep them in the little pots and just put them back in the cupboard.
Yeah, it's done.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. I'm my organisation. No.
Well, that's one of our impairments. As part of the executive function, is one of the skills that you get from your executive function part of your brain is the ability to be organised, is to organise yourself.
I definitely
and prioritise things.
Yes.
So that completely makes sense. It's completely understandable.
Yeah.
So just to summarise then, because I'm worried that we might get cut off, and also I think an hour is a pretty good amount of time anyway to talk about this. To summarize, should we just signpost some people to how they can get diagnosed?
Yes, I think that's a really good idea. Yes. So
yeah, go on, you go.
Okay. So there's a hang on. I've actually screenshotted it, so we've got. I can talk properly about it. Right.
Yeah.
Let me get it up. Right. So there's something called Your Right to Choose.
Yeah.
I was only made aware of this pretty much, I don't know, a few months ago, on TikTok actually, because I have never heard about it in my whole entire life.
Neither did I. Don't you wish you knew about it?
Oh yeah.
Before we spent like $1,000.
Yes.
On medication.
Oh my god. So basically, it's called the Right to Choose. I mean, you might explain it better. I mean, yeah, I think you've done a great job. Right to Choose. Google it. You can go via Psychiatry UK for adult ADHD assessment in England. So apologies, guys, if you are tuning in from outside of England. We don't know. No.
But NHS Right to Choose in England has a kind of a partnership with Psychiatry UK, where you can basically kind of fast track your diagnosis. And I know this from various people that I've seen on Instagram who have documented their ADHD journey, specifically referring to diagnosis, who have got diagnosis far quicker than we did.
Oh yeah.
And I'm talking weeks, which is great. So please just Google, search it out online, Right to Choose, and that would, it'll probably be the first thing that comes up, and it'll ask you to fill out a form. Not very ADHD friendly filling out forms, but hey ho.
No, but also, like I said, I'm going through the autism assessment, which is going through the Right to Choose. So it's not just, which they only they only state that it's ADHD, but it's anything that is neurological.
Wow, see, I didn't know that. That's really good to know.
I didn't know that either until I watched a TikTok which states that the NHS will only say it's ADHD because that's the cheapest.
Right.
Because autism.
So if you think that you might have autism or you'd like to get a diagnosis for that, you can use Right to Choose for that as well. Yeah,
but you do have to have a referral from your GP though.
So you go to the GP first. I guess the process would be go to the GP first, get your referral form and say, I would like to be referred through Psychiatry UK, Right to Choose. And then once you have the referral, and obviously you fill in the forms online, then that process. Obviously, you'll be documenting your experience with Right to Choose, the Right to Choose program anyway. So I guess, for anyone who's interested in how that pans out, then, to tune into you.
Yeah, I mean, for me, and this is how quick it is, I rang up the doctor and said, I've been waiting for an autistic assessment for over a year because it was when I was diagnosed with ADHD. We then put a form in to be kind of assessed for autism. So I've been waiting a year anyway for autism. Well over a year now, 2 years this September. So it's pretty kind of long waiting list for that as well.
Yeah.
But guess what? Literally a couple of months ago, I rang the doctor and was like, I've been made aware I've got the right to choose under this certain act, and guess what? Within 2 days, I received a phone call. I was assessed over the phone. Yes,
wow.
I think you're autistic. So they're gonna put me forward for an official assessment within the next 2 months.
That is incredible. Like
2 months, and I've been waiting well over a year.
Known that?
No, I've been still waiting, and this is, I think we're gonna have to do so many more lives because I think we have so much because we are. Yeah, do you know, one day I will come to London and we will meet because I feel like.
Oh, that'd be lovely.
I just feel, there's so many people out there that don't, have a positive influence with ADHD because, like you said, there isn't many people that would openly talk about it. And I feel like we have, I mean, I know for my YouTube channel, even though it's not a big following, it's still enough to help people. And like,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you're like, you know, you've got a job that is just incredible. And, you know, I feel like you could easily make it, you know, I just think we
I
are.
want to be living proof that you can still achieve something, you know, for the people that are looking at themselves, why can't I do this? Why can't I do that? And I kind of want to be a human example of that. You can do whatever you put your mind to.
100%.
You know, it might be a tough journey, but you can do it. You can absolutely do it, and also you've got to do it in your own way.
Yeah,
it's got to be right for you. Well,
do you know what though?
Yeah,
like, it was impossible for me to sit down and even read a book, let alone write one. And I've written a book, and I sit and I edit videos for YouTube that takes me maybe 6 or 7 hours a time, you know. And that for me is huge. And if I can inspire anyone, then that's what I am passionate about. And, you know, especially like, I feel like, well, obviously we're both female, but I aim to help the females, the younger ones, because for me, you know, it's so easy
to be let down.
Yeah, it's so easy for, and this isn't against boys or anything like that, but boys have it a lot easier than girls. And in the way of ADHD, it is, you know, they do have it easier because they have they are just kind of the stereotype box.
Like the stereotype is a young white boy gets picked up quickly. And my little brother is an example of that. I mean, we're Greek, but he got picked up super quick. He's like 4. He got picked up when he was 4.
Yeah.
He's now 18, but he got picked up when he was 4. In terms of the assessment, the diagnosis, the education system clocked on that something, you know, he needed support. And, you know,
you being his sister,
you know, getting diagnosed, I had to do a master's before anyone even said, right, okay, maybe you should do a test.
No, that's it though, isn't it? I feel like females are left to, you know, smash into that wall. And
we have to get to that point. And then with that comes a lot of, you know, there's a lot of mental health side effects that come with that as well. But obviously that's a whole other chat for another day.
Yeah.
It's just thank you so much for sharing the point about the right to choose assessment for autism. That is such absolute gold, I think.
Yeah,
personally,
I think because I mean I don't know whether this is like 1,000% true, so don't quote me on it. But if you choose to go private, as in if you're on this right to choose, and you say, do you know what, you're taking too long, and they say, okay, you pick where you want to go. If you pick to go private, the NHS have to fund it.
Wow.
Yes. But these things are not kind of broadcasted.
They don't talk about it, do they? No.
And I feel like, you know what? If they want the economy and they want everything else to go, like to boom, they need to start employing people with ADHD. You know, they need to start encouraging and empowering us, because.
But it's an investment into your workforce, isn't it?
Oh, 1,000%. The things,
and I really think that we have so much to offer. We have so much to offer the workforce and the economy, and
it's mistaken though, isn't it?
It's a shame. So but I'm hopeful, and I'm so thankful that you brought this to this live as well. That point, it's really, really, really important. And just to round off as well, I think we're both on the same vibe with this, just to share with anybody that there is absolutely no shame in getting medication if you think that would be beneficial to you to function in any way. You know, there's absolutely no shame in that, and that's why one of the reasons I feel empowered to talk about it, because I want to kind of put that home, that I'm not embarrassed to say, you know, I take some medication so that I can kind of function sometimes.
Yeah, it gives us a running start, because even though we're on medication, we still lack a lot of kind of freeze all. Sorry. I feel like it just, you know, it doesn't give us a a lot of people will say that we're cheating in exams and we got this and we got that, we've got more of a head start. It's not. It gives us an equal.
No, actually, exactly. I'm going to put a post about this really, really great BBC resource called Ally Tracker.
Okay.
I'll share that with you as well. And I think it's a really, really helpful insight to visualize in which place of the race of life that we start, because you just mentioned a valid point. Oh, you get an extra head start. Well, actually, it's not. We get a fair try. So how it kind of looks, this race, is that people with certain privileges or certain disabilities, or the way that society is set up in terms of certain discrimination as well. Like, there are different levels in which people start the race of life. And so, for example, someone with a disability will start slightly further behind. And so having that extra boost, whatever it may be, it doesn't have to be medication. It could be,
therapy or
anything. There are so many ways to help, cope with this. But it gives you that, it gives you the fair starting point, because you're actually starting, you're not getting a head start, you're starting before. You're starting further behind.
And it gives you that little bit of a catch up, doesn't it? Like it gives you the chance. And that's what I feel people need to understand. Because I know a lot of people, I know anyway, from people's stories, they're scared to allow their kids to be medicated. And from my blog, I have a lot of parents that are like, I can't let my kid be medicated, because if kids find out at school, they're going to bully him or bully her. And I just think, do you know what? It shouldn't be like that. If you're diabetic, you don't bully someone for having to take insulin. It's exactly the same. That, obviously it's not life-changing or it's not life-saving, but in many ways it is, but people won't see it like that.
In many ways it is, in many ways it is. Yeah, I totally understand that.
Yes, I mean, insulin.
The impulsive side of things.
Yeah.
Well, no, not the same as insulin.
No.
Not the same as insulin. In other ways, though, I guess. Like the impulsivity and stability.
Wearing glasses, for example, you don't, it's not unfair to allow someone to wear glasses. How is that unfair, eh? But then us taking
very true
medication is just like us wearing glasses. There's no difference.
It's true. I do feel like that. I feel like when I take L-Vans, I feel like my brain's on HD.
Yeah, 4K.
I'm like, whoa, I can see really clearly. Like, okay,
focus the camera, like, whoop, I can see now. Yeah. Right. My iPad's on 3%, so
okay, well, I think that's really covered everything anyway. And Molly, it's been so lovely chatting to you. Thank you so much for your time and all your knowledge and your experiences and sharing everything. Really, really appreciate it.
Yes.
Oh, is it cool?
We will meet up in London one day, and we'll do a collab or something on YouTube, and we'll just talk it all out when we're allowed to meet. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just literally flicking through the comments to see if there were any questions. Sorry, guys, we have not really looked at this because focus.
What we can do is I'll save this and share it, and the comments will hopefully still be there. I think they will be.
Okay.
If not, the people that have commented questions, comment them on the video when I post it, and both of us can reply.
Yeah. Please do. If you have any questions, please just put them in the comments. We're going to post this Instagram live. I don't know how to do it, but you know how. Tell me and I'll do it as well.
Right.
And thank you so much to everyone who has tuned in tonight. Thank you so much.
See you later. It's lovely to meet you.
Bye, Molly. Thank you.
See you later. Bye.
See you.